Hello, today we are joined by a very special guest, and his name is Barney. Um, he may be a bit snory, so ignore that. Anyway, what I wanted to talk about was the electric vehicle car grant that was reintroduced in July 2025. Back in 2016, though, I bought a BMW i3 and I used the original car grant back then, which I think was around about £5,000. And then in addition to that, I was able to get a grant to have a charger installed. So I had a polar charger fitted, and I paid, I think, a bit extra to have a lockable one, so people couldn't steal my electricity when I wasn't there. That never happened. Um, but roll on to 2025, and in July, the electric vehicle car grant was reintroduced, but it wasn't a blanket grant for every electric vehicle as it was back in 2016. This time, there are certain eligibility criteria. It can't cost more than £37,000. It has to be a passenger car or vehicle, even like the converted vans that are converted into MPVs, they qualify. It can't produce any tailpipe emissions at all. It has to have a maximum battery range of 100 miles. Has to have 3 years, 60,000 mile warranty and an 8-year, 100,000 mile battery and motor warranty. And it has to meet some minimal sustainability criteria. And the sustainability criteria is the part that is stopping the grant from being applied to a lot more cars, because when I look into the detail of that, it mandates where the batteries are made, where the car's made, where the minerals come from, transportation, etc., etc. So I looked through the document, and there's 20 odd pages of it. It's insane, really. And manufacturers have to submit a form to the Office of Low Emission Vehicles. I think it's OLEV or OZEV, Office for Zero Emission Vehicles, sorry. And then it has to wait for a decision to say yes, it's eligible for one or two grants or no grant. So the two grants are available are in Band 1 and Band 2. So Band 1 gets the 3,750 grant, and the Band 2 gets a £1,500 grant. But there is a list of vehicles available on the government website about which cars are eligible now. So 6 months in, we'll have a look at this, or nearly 6 months in, thereabouts, we'll have a look at this. So there aren't that many Band 1 cars, to be quite honest with you. There's like 9. That's it. So Citroen EC5 Aircross Long Range, the Ford e-Tornado Courier, so that's a converted transit van, I think, or transit courier van into an MPV. The Ford Puma Gen E, the Mini Countryman, the Nissan Leaf, the new Nissan Leaf, lovely looking car that is. The Renault 4, the Renault 5, but only with a 52 kilowatt hour battery. But interestingly, the Renault 4 doesn't specify battery size. I don't know if it comes in the smaller and the larger battery, can't remember. And the Alpine A290. So they're the only cars that qualify for the Band 1. So that's £3,750 off. And all bar one are kind of European manufacturers, but of course the Nissan Leaf is made in the UK, so it's locally made, not made in Japan. The Band 2 cars, we have the rest of the Citroen range, fundamentally. So the EC3, the EC3 Aircross, the EC3 Urban, no idea what those are. I know the EC3 is like a small hatchback, but I don't know. I think the Aircross is like a slightly stilty hatchback, isn't it? But I don't know about the Urban. The Citroen EC4 and the EC4X, the X being the saloon one. The C5 Aircross, which I think, Jim Starling from Definitely Not a Guru, who has reviewed the C5 Aircross, and he thought it was brilliant. Go and have a look at that YouTube review on Definitely Not a Guru. And the Citroen E-Space Tourer. Then we go on to the Cupra Born, which is a great car. The DS3, which is probably getting a bit long in the tooth now, I think. The DS4, which is their kind of like modern up-to-date DS with new design language. The Nissan Ariya, Nissan Micra, and then you've got all the Peugeots on here. So the E208, the E2008, the E308, the E408, the E-Rifter, the E-Traveller, and then the Renault 5 40 kilowatt hour is listed under the £1,500 grant. The Renault Megane and the brilliant Renault Scenic, both the Skoda Elroq and Enyaq get the smaller grant, and the Toyota ProAce City Verso, which again is like it's a Stellantis van which has got a Toyota sticker on the front and back. That qualifies for the grant. It's been converted into an MPV. The Vauxhall Combo Life, which is essentially the same as the ProAce, but with the Vauxhall sticker on the front. The Vauxhall Astra, the Vauxhall Corsa, the Frontera, the Grandland, the Mokka, the Vivaro Life Electric. And then the VW ID3, 4 and 5. But not the 7 or the Buzz, sadly. And I think it's because the 7 and the Buzz are over that £37,000 threshold. So there isn't a huge amount of electric cars that qualify for either the Band 1 or the Band 2 grant. And we're now kind of 6 months down the line. So where does that leave the like of Hyundai or Kia, for example, because they produce some brilliant cars in like a variety of sizes and prices, like the entry-level Insta. So when I have a look on Auto Trader, there's an awful lot of kind of like non-qualifying vehicles that have put their own grant in there, and they've written the words like manufacturer's grant or dealer's grant or something, and they've given a discount, and some go beyond that discount as well. So I was looking at the Insta today, the O2, Insta O2 and the Cross, and that was for Patrick from the Green Strip show on X, and I noticed some big discounts. So you're over £5,000 off, and there's no car grant on there, so they're getting really competitive now. I also noticed the little Leap Motor. I always get this one wrong. T03. I think I've nailed it. That I saw one yesterday. I think I did a post on that. £11,995. So that's down from about £16,500. That doesn't have a grant, but now you're kind of getting hot competition. Even like the Dacia Spring doesn't qualify for an EV grant, and they're discounting those down to like 11,000 as well. So even for like cars like the Leap Motor T03 and the Dacia Spring, they're kind of in a segment really of their own. They're tiny city cars with a limited size battery, perfectly great for running around town and doing your errands and stuff, but you're not going to, schlep up and down the motorway in one. Well, you might do, but if you want to rekindle 2015 again with some of the Nissan Leafs and the i3s and the Renault Zoes from those days, people do though, yeah, and they're quite happy with that. But that aside, there's an awful lot of vehicles for sale with massive discounts at the moment. But the other thing I noticed as well, and I just want to segue into this a little bit because we've done the car granty bit now. But what I've noticed as well, especially in January, not so much in December, was the amount of pre-registered cars across all fuel types. But I've been looking at electric, and then I had a little nose around the plug-in hybrids as well. And there's an awful lot that are being pre-registered, and some with absolutely enormous discounts. So they would have been registered in December. Now remember, the ZEV mandate runs from January to December. And the ZEV mandate for 2025 was to hit a target of 28% of all their vehicles being electric. Now, when we have a look at the actual SMMT data for that, it was around about 23%. But remember, there are flexibilities within that. And earlier last year, manufacturers and industry bodies got together and lobbied the government to have more flexibilities introduced. And they agreed. they also agreed to have the electric car grant, but of course that's conditional. So the electric car grant helps some, but it doesn't help everyone. And the issue that we've got with that is that for those that it's not eligible for, and if they really want to sell cars and qualify for that grant, they've got supply chains to try and reorganize to ensure that their cars meet those sustainability metrics that the government mandate. So that's not going to be a quick turnaround. So I think it'd be interesting to see how this EV car grant list grows over the course of the year, or even if it does, there obviously will be new cars that will come to market that we haven't seen yet, and they could qualify. So it'd be kind of interesting to see how this is going to play out. But invariably, this is going to be very good for the customer because there's a lot of deals and a lot of hot deals coming out of December where they're pre-registered. So if you're a cash buyer, or you can arrange your own finance, or if you do come across a pre-registered car and the dealership has got a good finance package, then it might be a good choice, because some of these are huge discounts, and we're kind of talking anywhere between £7,000-8,000 off up to £20,000 off some cars, and it's extraordinary, absolutely extraordinary, really. And it's a real buyer's market out there as well. Of course, if you've got like something very specific in mind that you want, you might not be quite as lucky, because not every company pre-registered cars, but a lot of them did. So there's going to be a lot of really good deals because they want to shift this stock as well. And when I looked at the SMMT data for December, what I noticed was a big spike in battery electric vehicle sales, or registrations, I should call them, in the month of December, but November was very low. So, they obviously were cooling off in November to then, selling off in whatever stock they had in November, and then building up a stock in December, and then pre-registering them. So we got massive discounts available in January. So I'm going to keep posting on X about all the amazing discounts. I'm at Graham_Cobb, and my name is GRAEME_COBB. That's where you'll find all the deals on X that I post. And there's some cracking lease deals as well. So if you do find some cracking lease deals, go check out Definitely Not a Guru, because he posts lease deals out on YouTube pretty much every week, usually earlier in the week as well. And there's some amazing deals. I'll post some out as well. But I've seen some absolutely cracking cars for well under £300 a month and well under £200 a month as well. Some really good cars. Like there's the Leap Motors I'll get this wrong, C10 or T something. Anyway, TB something. Who knows? The SUV one. Yeah. That was under £200 a month. Big family car. I mean, if you're not that fussy and you just want to ferry family about, and you need to commute and you need the space for dogs in the boot or whatever it is, I mean, that's like your coffees at work for a month, isn't it? Or not even that. It's amazing. Anyway, that was it really. I'm going to keep an eye on the electric vehicle car grant list from the government website, and I might do another update in a few months' time, just to see if more have been added, because I think it would be worthwhile having a look at that. And I think this year is going to be a really hot year. I think the ZEV mandate's like 33% target or something like that manufacturers got to meet. There's going to be no more flexibilities. They've kind of spent that one with the government. So this is going to be interesting. But what I did hear, I don't know whether this is actually going to come true or not. We have the chicken and egg situation, haven't you? So will EVs take off if there are no public chargers? Not really. So what did Tesla do? They came along and they built a charging network, and then people bought Teslas because they could get about. So the same goes like with public chargers, because we know that a lot of public chargers are expensive. So the government apparently now are looking at reducing the VAT on public charges from 20% down to 5% to try and reduce those costs, and then to try and reduce the connection charges that the charging companies have to pay. And hopefully that will bring the cost down of public charging. So wouldn't it be great if like public charging was below 50p a kilowatt hour on the rapids? That'd be incredible. Anyway, fingers crossed for that one. So yeah, that was it really. Just a ramble about car grants and the ZEV mandate and public charging. So thanks very much for watching, and I shall catch you on the next one.